Hi, my name is Veronica. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I've recently started my journey in human design. They say that the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. So I have decided to start a special series on my channel where I'm going to be sharing with you everything I learn about human design. I'm coming to you as a student, not a teacher. So what I'll be doing is answering all of the questions that come up for me as I'm learning about this really fascinating system. And I'll also be sharing with you my personal experience of actually embodying and implementing what I learn both in life and in business. So I hope this content is going to be both informational and inspirational to you. And if you want to join me on this journey, then please stay tuned. So today we're going to be covering the basics. We're going to be answering 3 key questions. Number 1, what is human design? Number 2, how does it work? And number 3, how do you get started? How do you find out what your unique design is? So starting with question number 1, what is human design? I actually hadn't heard of human design until March of this year. I didn't even know it existed. So human design for me is essentially a tool for self-awareness and self-acceptance. It's designed to help you understand who you are at your core, outside of the external conditioning and influence that we are exposed to every single day. I don't know if you can relate to this, but often we are told to just be ourselves or to be authentic. I've heard this term a lot, especially in business, especially having an online business when we talk about branding. Just be authentically yourself and everything will be fine. Or you may have even been told that before going on a date. Oh, just be yourself and it'll go really well. Or before a job interview, just be yourself and they'll love you. The problem is that most of us actually don't know what that means. Most of us don't know ourselves. We don't know who we are beyond the layers and layers of shoulds and expectations and social pressures. And so for me, human design is something that can help shed a light on who you are at your core. It helps you peel back all the layers that you've acquired after years and years of listening to other people and their opinions as to who they think you should be, and instead reconnect with the person that you were born to be. And by leaning into that, by leaning into the person that you are rather than the person that you feel like you should be, what you'll find is that you will show up in life, in relationships, in business with a lot more ease, with a lot more self-acceptance, with a lot more peace. And you'll be able to leverage your own unique traits, your own unique quirks, and your own unique way of looking at the world instead of wasting so much time trying to be like everyone else. We are not designed to be all the same. And yet that is often what it can feel like. You can often end up feeling like the carbon copy of someone else, either of your family members or your friends or the people you compare yourself to online. So the more you get to know yourself at your core, the easier it is to remain aligned to what matters to you as an individual, to your own desires, your own aspirations, your own quirks and qualities. As a business and mindset coach, I'm extremely interested to look at this through a lens of business. How will understanding my individual, unique human design can help me educate the way that I choose to structure the business that I'm building. Often we end up doing things in business that don't feel right, that don't feel like the right fit, but we impose this pressure, these expectations, this story that unless we do things in a certain way, a way that perhaps has worked for other people, then we won't be successful. And for me, human design is helping me challenge that way of thinking and lean into doing things my own way, because what works for someone else and what works for someone else's design isn't necessarily going to work for me because I am different, and vice versa. What works for me won't necessarily be a good fit for everyone else either. So I see human design as a tool that you can use to better understand yourself, to better understand others, to show yourself more compassion and to show others more compassion by understanding the way that they might be operating and how that differs to the way that you do things as well. So question number 2, how does human design actually work? I'm not going to lie, this is one of the biggest parts of human design I've struggled with myself. I'm a very practical, systematic thinker. I've always leaned into things that have a body of evidence and are quite logical. And whether that is because that's my comfort zone or because that's what I genuinely believe in, I'm still trying to figure it out. But historically, I've always had a very practical approach to both mindset, psychology, and business. So the creation of human design is a little bit of a challenge for me. It's taking me a little bit of time to wrap my head around it because I have not really practiced or been open to the kind of spiritual side of life. And so I'm still trying to find my feet. However, I'm keeping an open mind because the results of human design are so powerful for me that I'm willing to challenge my thinking in order to wrap my head around how it actually works. So, human design is a combination of both old principles and practices and new ones. So it's a real blend of things like astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah, the chakra system, and quantum physics. So the system takes parts from other principles and it's been brought together to create this brand new system. It has scientific and practical and measurable aspects to it, but it also definitely has a more spiritual, esoteric, if you will, aspect to it as well, which is the part I'm kind of struggling with, if I'm honest. But on a practical level, the way it works is that it takes your data of when you were born. So it takes your birth date, location, and specific time, as specific as you can get it. And what it does is it will determine the exact placement in time and space in relation to the solar system and the star field that was in existence around you at the time of your birth. The reason this is important is because we as human beings are essentially just a group of cells interacting with one huge energy field, which is the universe. And at the moment of our birth, we will have been imprinted with all of this energetic information that came from the universe, and that left a genetic blueprint on us on an energetic level. And so this thumbprint, all this information that reaches us at the moment of our birth, will determine the nature of our own energetic field. So every human being has their own energetic field, and this is science, this isn't fluff. We essentially have our own aura, it can also be referred to. It's the energetic field around us as people. And so it's the relationship of our own energetic field and how it relates to other energetic fields, so other people, and the overall energetic field that we exist in, which is the universe. I hope I've explained that in a reasonably understandable way. It's something that I'm still wrapping my head around. It is quite complex, so I'm trying to explain it as simply as I possibly can, but I hope that made sense. So how do you actually find out what your design is? The beauty of human design is that you can find free software online where you simply input your data for free and you get your chart, which is often also called a body graph. So I'm going to insert a picture of it somewhere on the screen so you can see what that looks like. Now, don't be overwhelmed when you first look at this, because when I first looked at it, I thought it was literally mambo jumbo. It's quite confusing, and unless you understand what the terms mean, and even then, it is a very layered system, and so it will take some time for you to even understand what you're looking at. But essentially, your body graph or your chart gives you a snapshot of your human design. Most of the software, and I'll be linking a few of the ones I've used in the description box, will give you a summary of what each of those things mean. But what I initially did was, once I read my summary, I started to just Google individual things. YouTube is of course a brilliant resource. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about my own design. I'm a projector. And the more I listen to that information, I also listened to podcasts about human design. I obviously bought books, started reading books about human design. The more I started to learn about my own individual design, the more intrigued I've become, because it honestly felt like coming home. I have never felt so seen, so understood. It was like this chart was highlighting all of my deepest fears and desires and challenges and quirks, some of which I've often struggled to verbalize myself. So it's definitely fascinating. At the very least, I would encourage you to go and get your chart and to start kind of figuring out your own design and your own energy type. and to find out more about it, because it is really, really interesting. Now, in this particular series, I will be covering everything you need to know as I learn it myself in order to be able to understand your own chart. So in the next video, I'm going to break down the different parts of your chart so that you can understand what each of the different components actually means. So my challenge for you is go and get your chart and then drop down in the comments your specific human design type. I would love to see what designs you guys have. Like I said, I'm a projector, and in later videos I will be going into what that actually means and some of the benefits and struggles that projectors face in life, in business, in relationships. So I'm super pumped to share this information with you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me either in the comments or via email, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!